Welcome to Kiran'S Indian Kitchen. Today I'm in my friend Leonardo's 150-year-old kitchen, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity to show you how to make Indian bread. Now, it is actually called rotis in our house or paranthas. I'm just pouring in some of this whole wheat flour. So I'm going to roll up my sleeves because I don't want to get this messy, and I'm trying to look very pretty for you. So here we are. I've got some of my water, and again, don't worry about measurement. The thing with this bread is that if you make a mistake, you can always add more water or you can always add more flour, and you will get the right consistency. So now I'm just taking my fingers and I'm just combining the flour and the water. When you're working with flour, it all depends on the day. You're never really going to get a perfect measurement with the water. So it just changes from day to day is basically what I'm trying to say. So here we are. Again, we're just combining it because we want to make a very soft dough. You want it soft because when you have a very soft, pliable dough, you'll have a wonderful flaky bread. So I need a little touch more of water, and basically I'm just going to wet my fingers as opposed to the dough. You're just turning it over and punching it down, turning it over and punching it down. And hopefully you'll gather all the flour up into one mass, like so. And it's very soft. You're in for a treat. This is going to be very good. It's quite sticky, but please don't worry because we are going to add more flour when we roll it out because we're going to make flatbread. I have a nice flat surface, so it doesn't matter. You can just use the counter space or a cutting board. My rolling pin, which is also the other tool besides beating up on people. You need this to make Indian bread. I have a bowl of whole wheat flour that I'm going to use to dip, and I have some nice soft butter. Your choice if you'd like to use unsalted or salted. I prefer a little salt because there isn't any seasoning in the bread. Typically, breads are really simple and plain, and then when you serve it with your curries or your vegetables or your pickles, that is where all the flavor is. Now the other tool that I use to bake my bread is this wonderful cast iron pan called a tawa, but you probably don't have a tawa, so you can use just an ordinary frying pan. A cast iron skillet or a stainless steel all-clad skillet is a great option. So you don't have any excuses, you can make this bread. Good, so now I'm going to put a little of this dry flour on my board, and I'm going to put a little on my fingers so I can pull off some of this dough because remember it's sticky, so you want to have a little bit of flour on your hands. And I'm just shaping it into a ball, kind of the size of a golf ball, and I'm going to put it down on the board, and I'm also going to rub some of this flour on my rolling pin. Basically, I'm just gonna roll this out into a pancake. Now, each time I roll, I just flip it over. Each time I roll it a bit, I flip it over. This way, what I'm doing is making sure that it's not sticking to my board, and I can handle it the way I want to. So every time I push on it and roll it, it gets a little bit bigger, and it just keeps growing and growing. So now I think I'm ready for the butter because what we're making is a parantha. So now I've got my soft butter, and you want it quite soft because you need to have it room temperature, so it won't work if the butter is hard because it'll just tear the bread. All right, so there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it onto itself like this. So I'm just going to keep rolling, kind of like a jelly roll. And then I'm just going to, with my 10 fingers, roll it completely out long into a snake-like thing, and then take it and coil it into itself and then push it with my palm of my hand so it kind of seals together. And now you can see my board needs some flour because once again, I'm gonna roll it out. And this now has gorgeous layers of butter, and the bread, the parantha, I should say, will be nice and flaky and delicious. Of course, when you try this at home, it may not come out quite perfectly round like mine, but I've had years of experience doing this. So I've had triangle ones. My students have made them in triangles and in squares, and believe me, it's a rustic thing. Don't worry about it if it's not a perfect circle. It's still going to be delicious. That is not the point of making these beautiful breads. That one will take a little while to bake because the skillet is hot, and I haven't put anything on the skillet. It's a dry skillet. So we're gonna just bake the bread, and I'm just gonna carry on and start the next one. So it's kind of like an assembly line. And you know, we were very spoiled because my mom would make these for us and serve them hot right from the griddle to our plate. And we would have these for breakfast, we would have these for lunch, and we would have these for dinner. And for breakfast, it was really, they're delicious with scrambled eggs or with pickles or yogurt and fruit. So now you see that it's changed color, and you can tell that it's just asking to be turned. And this side is definitely on its way to being cooked. Now, I want to talk about the oil that I'm going to use because we are going to lightly fry this in some oil. Now, I'm going to use grapeseed oil today because it's very high in antioxidants and has a very high smoke point, which I'm really fond of. Of course, you're probably wondering why I'm not using ghee, but you can use ghee. I like this because it's a little lighter, and I've already used butter. By the way, ghee is clarified butter for people that don't know that. So I like to use just a nice cooking oil instead. It's similar to the way croissants are made. You know, it's the same thing with croissants. It's layers and layers of butter, and they keep folding it, and they keep folding it, and it just, what happens is the butter just goes, you know, it just keeps getting more and more solidified and layered in between the flour. So it's a very similar concept to making this bread. Now it's starting to get golden and brown, and you can see that it's all nice and toasty on that side. Basically, that side's done. We just have to cook the underside, and we'll be ready to eat it. And like I said, if I'm in a hurry, I'll just get some yogurt and add a little bit of sugar. When I was little, I used to add sugar, but now I just, you know, use plain yogurt or fruit flavored yogurt, and it's a wonderful snack. So this is ready to be cooked. Good, now we're done, we're ready to eat. So now I've just, should let it cool a little bit, but remember when I was saying that I don't use ghee to cook it because I put a little layer of butter in between, so I like to use just a, you know, a light cooking oil. Well, the reason being is I love to eat it with butter, so I know it's bad, but it's so good. And all I do is just break off a little bite, put a little bit of that yummy soft butter, and all by myself, no one notices. They're so good. It's crispy and it's a bit hot, but perfect. And of course, a lovely glass of red wine. It's the perfect snack.